Hola, Vardians. Here's a question for this episode. True or false? Social workers only work with children. The answer will be at the end of the episode. May you enjoy. Hey y'all, I hope you're well. Welcome to another episode of Healthcare Boulevard. This is a podcast where we shine more light on healthcare, and our goal here is to provide more options to people looking to choose healthcare as a career path, regardless of their background. My name is Sena Kakpomo, and I am your host and creator here. I thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your support. Remember, you can tune in on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. Without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Vardians, welcome back. This is your host. I am here for another interview. As you know what we're doing this year, interview. I am bringing you a social worker, the first of in her field on our podcast here, and I'm very excited to get into it. As I was telling her off camera or off mic, I've always wanted to know more about social workers and what they do, so I'm very excited to jump into it. Let me invite her in. Is it Cholesa?
Charlisa.
Cholisa. Okay.
Yes.
Cholisa, welcome to Healthcare Boulevard. How you doing?
Oh, well, and thank you so much for having me today.
Of course. So we actually learned that you live in Maryland, which, as you all know, I used to live there. It's my home state in America. My family is still there. So that's interesting to find out. You're on Eastern time.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Okay, so again, my name is Charlisa. I'm from Maryland. I currently work in DC as a permanency social worker. I have my clinical license in DC and Maryland, and I work in the child welfare system.
Okay, so how long have you been working as a social worker?
So officially, I graduated in 2017, and I passed my licensure and for DC in 2018. No, excuse me, the end of 2017. I got my real first social work job in 2018, and I've been at that job for over 4 years now.
Okay, so you started working about a year or so before the whole COVID shenanigan, started.
Mhm. Yes, like that is like a whole different thing now, because how like our way of practice before is no longer our way of practice now.
Yeah. So how did that change? How was that trend? Luckily, you had a few more to a year working as a just a regular social worker, getting your feet wet a little bit before the wave.
Right. Right.
So how was that?
It was crazy. I mean, as human beings, we just have so much resistance to change. And just thinking about our family, like the families and children that I service and work with in the district, it was just so much pushback, like even more pushback than like when I enter these family lives is once the child enters foster care. Then I'm introduced to the family to work with them towards either reunification, that's the child or the children coming home, returning home, or permanency, which is like adoption or guardianship. So at that time, like a lot of things that we usually do or our old way of practice is no longer that system. It was already difficult when families separate and things like that. But now we're saying, we have to do things virtually because we have to consider everyone's health, the foster parents, the child, the social worker, like, my coworkers and things like that. And, at that point, people are just like, I just want to see my kids. I just need to make sure that they're okay. And that's not happening. Court remains virtual, and then also like other requirements that used to have to be like face to face was all virtual. Now things are slowly opening back up again, but it was just a lot of resistance and unfortunately, a lot of great agencies and other, community partnerships that my job has, they closed down due to the lack of, funds and things like that.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, let's really back a little bit to your education to getting to where you are right now. When did you decide to become a social worker, first of all?
Oh my gosh. That happened, I believe, in like 2013.
Okay.
Um, my mom got remarried in 2010, and at that time, her husband, his child was in the foster care system. He ended up coming to stay with us, and that was like the first time I kind of learned what the social worker. That's when I first got introduced to the profession, like firsthand. It just something just told me to just go into social work. I had a passion in like communication and trying to do public relations and the
Okay.
entertainment field, but something just told me to just go to social work. Probably, I'm a very spiritual person. And so at that time I was like in my third year in college, and I was attending Bowie State University,
Okay.
and I wanted to switch to social work, but they was like, well, if I switch to social work, then I think I would have to pretty much start off as a freshman. And I'm like, wait, I'm not losing all my credits now. Like, I can't afford to start all over. And
Right,
then possibly,
right.
trying to get into advanced standing once I got my master's degree, because you still have to apply. Once you apply in the program, you also have to apply to advanced standing, which means you are in school for 3 semesters instead of 4. So I said, you know what? No. So what I did was I walked my behind down the hall to sociology, and that's how I ended up getting my bachelor's of sociology. And I had so much credits and so much like electives I could take. I started taking social work like classes to kind of just introduce me to the field. And one of my professors, she graduated from Howard University, and encouraged me to go and apply for their master's in social work program, and I was accepted. And so
Wow.
that's what got me in, and I've been on my way.
That's right. I love it. Okay. So you have a master's in social work. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, could you have been practicing had you started earlier and got a bachelor's in social work?
Okay. So there's a BS, it's a bachelor level social work licensure. And then after that, once you go to grad school, then there's the LGSW license that you have to apply, take an exam for. And then that's when you get your license and you're able to practice.
Okay. So what are the differences, if any, between somebody who got their license after a bachelor's degree in social work versus somebody at your level who are practicing with a master's in social work?
Probably job duties as well as pay.
Okay. Okay. That makes sense. And then had you gotten, or for somebody who did get a bachelor's in social work and start working with that, they can always, of course, choose to get their master's while already in the field, right? To
Correct.
advance their knowledge. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
And so you went to Bowie State, so did you end up getting your bachelor's in social work then?
No, I got my bachelor's in
In
sociology.
sociology. Okay.
Mhm.
All right.
I
And that
could
gave you
not
a
go
bit of
back
an
and do
introduction.
another 4 years. No, I couldn't do it. No.
No, I feel that. I totally feel that. That's the same way. I was like, hold on now. Let's think about this for a second.
Right. They said, well, you could go down the hall to sociology. I said, I sure will. And got my bag and started trucking down the hall. And
I
everything.
love it. I love it. I love it. Now, tell me, what setting, we talk a little bit about what you do right now. Dive in a little bit for us with that and tell us what are some of your challenges that you faced.
Oh my gosh. Work-life balance is a huge challenge in social work because burnout is definitely real. Especially for what I do. I work so closely with families for such a long period of time that I can't help but be enmeshed with them, um, and then coming to this field, unfortunately, like everyone in this who comes to social work all have experienced some type of trauma. They want to do something to, save a client or, connect to a client and just kind of be that listening ear that they didn't have when they went their own thing. And I can say that's definitely one of the biggest challenges. Um, Also, I can say there's also a big curve now in the district when it comes down to our foster kids because um, a lot of foster parents don't look like us, and that's a challenge too, because like what do those conversations look like when
Mm-hmm.
this family who wants to foster, we're trying to teach them, some of our like our challenges as
Mm-hmm.
well as our struggles,
Mm-hmm.
the things that we need, and them not really understanding that. So that's also a challenge too. Working with the legal system is a challenge as well, because I go to court often,
Mm-hmm.
to get the court updates, and then we have trials and adoption hearings and things like that. And then also it's like you have to do so much work with clients face to face, and you have to always document, and sometimes you can kind of get set aside that too. So time management is a huge factor as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, after
Mm-hmm.
you do all that great work, you got to make sure that you're up to date with your license. You have to take, trainings and things like that. So every time you turn around, somebody needs something.
Mm-hmm.
You also got to take care of yourself, because how else are you going to be able to be there for anyone else? So
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, no, that does present a challenge now. And I'm going totally not out of order here, but that's totally fine. You mentioned work-life balance. That's actually usually one of my questions. Being that it's not, it's and nearly everybody I've asked that, like 98% are like they almost laugh every time, like funny. You're talking about work-life balance. What you talking about, girl? you know? But how do you try to keep your not necessarily a balance, but try to remain yourself, right? And keep that joy inside of you, despite the hardship that you may see at work, doing what you do, seeing the separation between families, trying to place children and seeing all the hardship that these innocent souls are going through. A lot of time by no fault of their own, if at all ever, and
mhm.
so how do you separate that, do be yourself at work and still keep your joy and your happiness at home, if that's possible?
Um, so with me, I had to kind of figure out what I like to do. I mean, I think that transition from out of completing grad school and then trying to like take care of myself and like my own issues, not own issues, but own things that I had lined up,
Mm-hmm.
and trying to just kind of stay focused. I would definitely say that a big thing for me was trying to figure out what things I like to do, besides spend money on going shopping all the time, right? So I like to work out. And so I've, always try to make sure I fit that into my schedule one way or
Mm-hmm.
another. I try to go out with my friends and, go to concerts. And that was before COVID, of course, but go out to
Yeah.
concerts and, just do a
Yeah.
lot of, entertain, like just participate in a lot of entertainment things, go to festivals.
Mm-hmm.
If I see something that I like or I want to do, I make sure that I do it and
Mm-hmm.
base my work schedule around that, because
Right.
I have to take care of myself. And
Mm-hmm.
ironically, me and one of my really good friends, we're doing this self-care Sunday thing, like where every Sunday we check in with each other and make sure that we're doing something that we want to do. And
Oh,
that
that's amazing.
also has been really helpful too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I'm happy to hear that. It definitely is, especially with the pandemic, learning what you enjoy to do, while a lot of the things that you may even want to venture into are out of the option.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely. And it's so funny because like due to the pandemic, now with like our yearly evaluations at my job, they now
Mm-hmm.
for us on self-care.
Yeah, I
So,
like that.
that's, a lot of companies and things like that are definitely looking for social workers and people to
Yeah.
do outreach community-based work, and also like in charge of like their whole wellness,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
department thing now.
Yeah.
And it's kinda interesting to see all that stuff now and how the pandemic and the things that we dealt with as, as a living here in the United States, that we continue to face, and just seeing everyone kind of going that direction is really great to see.
Yeah, yeah. Now, as I know you weren't and you're still not necessarily on the job market, but perhaps friends who graduated around the COVID area, and maybe you can compare that with your job search. What did the job market look like for social workers in general before and after the pandemic? Was there even any impact at all?
I think now, like we always have been social work is an in demand, like we'll always be in demand. Like we will always
Mm-hmm.
needed in some way, shape, or form. But now it's like it's a thing now called like corporate social workers are kind of needed now. And of course, like in the field of practice, like a lot of people are don't feel comfortable coming back into the office because of the pandemic, So when it comes down to field work, is always going to be a need, but now it feels though is even more of a need because we're so short staffed. And then also with so a lot of people are doing more like at home therapy and just working from home now, and that's like the new thing. And some people are like, I'm not going to risk my family and things like that, and everyone's just taking a total different look at how and what they're doing. And a lot of times people are asking, like, am I really happy with my job? Because now it's that people are not settling for that. We can work from home and don't have to worry about the in-office politics, and all those other things. Like people are enjoying working from home. It's like, I don't have to deal with this. I can go on Indeed now and look for at-home positions, and it's like, why not? You save money on driving, gas is high. You don't have to worry about buying lunch all the time. You may take a pay cut, but it's also going to make you genuinely happier. So why not?
Yeah, it's definitely a different outlook now.
Yeah, but social work right now is definitely like it's at a whole different level now.
Yeah.
You can't help it. If you even put your application out there saying you're probably like, prospective graduate, they probably give you an offer right on the spot.
Like, come on, when are you graduating? Help us out. Yeah. It's amazing. It's definitely amazing because in every healthcare field, and I'm sure that this was a case in different areas as well. And I had a respiratory therapist here not too long ago, and he was mentioning how their field had always been a little bit under the weather in terms of people knowing what they do and understanding the scope of practice and so forth. But with the pandemic, I mean, that's critical care, right? Like how many times do you hear about ventilators, and so their field was like up there, everybody and their mama needed a respiratory therapist, especially in the hospital. And people really got to know what a respiratory therapist does and the importance in the chain of practice as in healthcare. So it's always good to see the different dynamics that the pandemic brought out of different fields of healthcare.
And I think also too with social work, I think people are kind of realizing how important we are. Because I think a lot of times people just like, oh, social work, you take babies and things like that. And it's like, no, we do other things too outside of that. Like we're also therapists. We also can do discharge planning. We also do case management. We also can, go over policies and practice and be an analyst and everything else, build system. Like we do it all. Like the realm of social work is just not client focused. We also do policies and things like that on a bigger level,
And that leads me to my next question. How would you describe a social work to somebody who has perhaps never heard of it?
Social work have their own code. We have our own code of ethics, right? Like, that's the thing. Okay. And in that code of ethics, it talks about who we service as far as, our clients, the people in our community. It goes over advocating, us in supervisory or, in management positions. And then whenever you think about a client and just something like, not just saying injustice going on with them, but they're not being serviced properly as far as their domains of their life, like education, medical, legal, we fit into those boxes, right? And then also as far as like the organization and like private sectors will go, we also can we can be instrumental to that as well, because a lot of times, like when you think about marketing and things like that, you can also think about, well, how does the social work kind of relate to that? Well, we do, we study, we're a profession of human behavior. We know how people move. And if you're trying to target this is what you have to do. And just understand that. And also with a lot of private companies and private sectors are also looking into this whole wellness thing and making sure their client, like their employees are okay. So what do we need to do? We need to have somebody on staff to possibly be here to do maybe EAPs, you know what I mean? that's a whole thing as well. Or a social worker who can kind of help companies or organizations figure out what's going on in the community so they know who to invest in and how to get more business attraction. Like, so we play so many different parts, and it's not like we're not a one size fit all like counselors, but we
Mm-hmm.
can do so much, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just not just focused on therapy or case management or just taking children away from family. Like, we do way more than that.
Yeah, because that's a lot of time how people are introduced to social workers, or a lot of time, even for those who perhaps may not have ever interacted with a social worker in real life, watch TV or movies. That's a lot of time when you hear, oh, the social worker is coming to visit us for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So that's usually what we think of when we think social work. But as the story goes, a lot of time there's a lot more behind that and a lot of nuances for nearly every field than what you may first think of. So can you give us some example of different settings that social workers can work in?
Okay, so social workers can work, of course, in child welfare. As far as their like family and child services, you have social workers that may work for the Department of Human Services. You have a school social worker. You have social workers who work with genotology, which is the older population, that so that they may be in a nursing home. You have social workers that work in a substance abuse treatment facility, psychiatric hospitals. Um, you can have a social worker. A lot of social workers work on the Hill where they're pushing policies and things like that. You have social workers who work hand in hand with attorneys. Um, the list goes on.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So
I
you you
mean,
you
now,
don't necessarily have to you can get in there and do whatever interests you most.
right, and even like social workers can even work with displaced population. So when you think about that, you think about FEMA. So
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
it just all depends on. And I think now too, a lot of um like police departments and things like that are also hiring social workers to kind of be out there for first response, to kind of do
Mm-hmm.
some de-escalation and crisis intervention right on demand. So
Right, right, right. Okay. And now tell us, we've heard about the challenges. What are some of the your favorite part of being a social worker?
oh my gosh. Really interacting with my clients and then also seeing the resilience in them. Um, Especially like with that moment when you can really reunify a family back together and they kind of learn from, why I'm involved.
Mm,
Or, unfortunately when there are times when families are unable to reunify, but they may get adopted by a family member or something like that, and that still brings joy to my heart to be able to like type up that adoption or guardianship report and
right.
just know that like the child is still linked with their family in some way or form. So I really enjoy that, and just most importantly, like working with my kids and just watching them grow up and try to navigate the system, even though
Mm-hmm.
things didn't work out, or it's an unfortunate reason why we're involved, but seeing them overcome their own problems and things like that as well,
Mm-hmm.
it brings joy to me.
Yeah. Now, what are some growth and leadership opportunities in as a social worker? I know you've touched on some of them.
So, first thing, like for growth, it's depends on the agency that you're at. Um, you can move up, like a lot of agencies or jobs, and they look for supervisors and things like that. And once you kind of go up that chain of command, um, a lot of times for that to kind of happen, most jobs will look for you to have your clinical social work license,
Mm-hmm.
which is the highest license in social work.
Yeah.
Um, for you to kind of be able to do more for them and then sign off on things and stuff like that, and just having that expertise behind your name definitely impacts that. But you can also become a supervisor and move up the chain,
Okay.
with just your just graduating with your master's in social work degree or things like that, and supervise a team of like support workers and things like that. So it's definitely a lot of growth, and
Mm-hmm.
that's definitely in the field. But a lot of people don't want to go that route. A lot of people prefer to just stay on a direct route and interact with their clients and not have the responsibility of being in management. So
Yeah,
think
yeah.
about social work too.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, everybody has different interests. Some people eat up the whole administrative thing and that they're great at that. Others will not will not take it, just
Like,
like,
no, I don't want that
no.
responsibility. I just rather work with my clients, do my job, and go home. Like, like that.
Exactly. They don't want to be the ones that people are coming with their problems, and they're not the kids. It's like there's a lot of tears in that responsibility, essentially.
Right.
Can you sort of walk us through your day to day as a social worker? As a social worker.
So my day to day usually, so as a social worker and what I do, I have a lot of flexibility where I kind of, not flexibility, but I can create my own schedule.
Okay.
So it just all depends on what I have for that day, as far as like scheduling court, um, checking in with my supervisor, doing documentation, seeing what I have on my schedule for any meeting. That may be meetings with stakeholders, with the parents to the child, that may be with the school or their therapist, or talking to a housing counselor, or if they have a substance abuse issue, that may be that. It may be the team as a whole, which may be like the legal team, family and things like that, the foster parents, so forth. Then I have to do visits to with the child. Like, then I have like foster home visits where I go check on the child with the foster parent, in the foster parent's home, make sure that they have everything that they need. Or that may consist of a parent-child supervised visit where
Okay.
the child will have, a visit with their parents, depending on what the court order says, because all that is based off of what the order is in court. And doing that. So
Okay. What are some advice you may give to someone who may want to become a social worker?
Have a lot of patience.
I like that.
It's rewarding. It's tough. And you will always get pushed to the limit, but you'll learn more about yourself. And just it's all worth it, but also take care of you. And what may work for you, what may work for someone else may not work for you. So figure out your niche.
I like that.
Trust your intuition at all times and take care of yourself. Because taking care of being there for other people, it will wear you down faster than taking care of just yourself. Like, you have to take care of yourself.
Yeah. Sometimes you can forget that and just like, selfless, selfless. But sometimes the selfless thing you can do is be selfish.
Yeah, no, because if you don't take care of you, then who will?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And do you personally have any future aspirations professionally?
Right now, I'm in one of those boxes where I'm just trying to figure it out. I just became a mom, so
Oh,
right now,
congratulations.
so right now,
That's
everything
exciting.
is, focused on me raising my daughter, and I don't know what that may look like, because again, I was single when I first started in the field, but things, now look a little different, because I no longer have long nights,
Yeah.
to be there.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to figure it out myself. And that's the joy of this job. I don't have to be committed to one thing.
Right. I love it. Well, again, listen, then you have your daughter and all the children that you're helping. It's a lot.
Yeah.
But you are doing it. And by the way, you look beautiful today. I was like,
You.
oh, that look is given. It's given. I have to say it. You are rocking the short hair.
Thank you. Listen, I cut my hair this year like 3 times. This is my 3rd time. But like now, I'm like have a whole new perspective. Like being a mom, listen, having an infant at home, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I just want maintenance and just ready to go. That's it.
You are killing it. That's for sure. Again, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate your time. I know it's not, Of course. And enjoy the Maryland weather. I'm sure it's getting warmer out there. I'm hoping no more snowstorm coming your way.
Yeah, we're supposed to have a good week, but they were calling for some rain. So.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah. All right. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
And have a beautiful day.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. The answer is false. Social workers can work with people of all different ages and for different reasons. All right. That's all I have for you today. Thank you again for joining me. I appreciate you. Please subscribe, follow, like, comment, and share. And stay blessed. Bye.